Alright, I'm back again. It's a nice early Monday morning, and I'm running late to work because, well, it's Monday morning and it's kind of early. Supposedly, there has been a Hunter Biden sex tape release that came off of the laptop. That's actually quite interesting. What is more interesting is Joe Biden took to Twitter early Sunday morning and said, 9 days to go, or 9 days left, let's go. And then, like 2 hours later, his campaign called for a lid for the remaining 9 days. Doesn't that sound the least bit suspect to anyone? You know, here you have this election in which Trump has based a large portion of his campaign on the physical and mental abilities of Joe Biden. And 9 days before the election, he's pretty much called a full stop to all of his in-person campaign appearances. Basically, he's sitting at home doing nothing. Isn't that the least bit worrisome? It kind of makes you wonder if he's not having some sort of major health issue of some variety. And personally, I'm personally thinking that's what's happened. He's having some sort of major health issue, and they're trying to hide it from the public 9 days before, or like a week before the election. Guaranteed that's what's happening. Because there's no reason even 2 weeks out of the election, there is no reason for a candidate to just pull out like that. Even if they think they have it in the bag, even if all the polling shows they have it in the bag, for a candidate to just shut down like that, that throws up a giant red flag, especially when you have some of the allegations coming out like we're seeing with two witnesses that I know of too, that have come forward and said, yes, those emails are correct, they're legit, and the big guy really was Joe Biden. When you have stuff like that coming out and you run and hide, that throws up giant red flags of guilt. Say what you want about Trump, but when he had people saying things about him, he didn't run and hide. He came out fighting. And here you have Joe Biden goes a hiding. Even if he isn't sick, let's just say by some miracle he wasn't having some health issue. Well, I think that is what's happening. But let's just say he isn't. Is that the kind of person you think has what it takes to sit down and negotiate with your Kim Jong whatevers and your Putins? I mean, he has to take 4 days off the campaign trail just to sit down and have a debate with Trump, there should be some giant red flags going on. And I noticed there's been some search results trending for, can I change my vote? I have a sneaking suspicion Joe Biden is not doing anywhere near as well as people think, or especially as the polling shows he's doing. Because there's no reason why the actual candidate should be pulling out like this and having other people, including a former president, do his campaign for him. There's no logical reason for that. Either he's throwing in the towel, or he's having some major issues where he just cannot leave his house. Either way, I would, if I were not voting for Trump, and I'm not saying who I'm voting for, because I think it's clear I'm definitely considering a specific third party, aka George Jorgensen. But let's just say I was in the never Trump camp. Would I want to consider Joe Biden in this precarious situation? No. If I were a Democrat and I saw this happening, I'm definitely not a Democrat. Would I want to vote for Joe Biden? No. This does not create an air of confidence in him. I don't care how big of a supporter you are, when you have a candidate that pulls out like this close to the election, especially one that is embroiled with a family turmoil that implicates him, and one of the main questions has been his physical and mental capabilities, and he just pulls out. Yeah, I have major questions about that. And I don't see how anyone can openly consider supporting him given this situation. I don't. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are actually withdrawing their support over this. Also, the fact that the news media is not covering this story, I have a feeling has cost Biden a few votes. Here's why. I've told the story of my grandmother and Richard Nixon, and she said he was the last decent president because he didn't do anything that hadn't been done before or since. He just got caught and couldn't lie his way out of it. Well, guess what? I think that's the case with Joe Biden. I think there's a good possibility he used his family to make a few $1 million. Probably even laundered the money through him some way, somehow. I think that's a real possibility. Not going to hide it, not going to deny it. I'm not so concerned about that as I am the fact that the news media as a whole is refusing to cover it because this is unsubstantiated. This is questionable in nature. The source is questionable in nature and all this crap. And that really pisses me off. And here's why. They took and ran with the story of, what was it, Trump peeing on hookers in golden showers or something like that. Unsubstantiated, no proof. They took it and ran with it. And with Kavanaugh, they went dumpster diving. They went out of their way to find people to make for claims against him. But Tara Reade comes forward, and she actually did file a report when it happened. And her mother went on Larry freaking King. All but blatantly said specifics. And the only reason why she did it was because it was a very influential person in Washington. She did say that. Does she get any credibility? No. And that's something to take into consideration. When you actually take a step back and you look at that, you should be seeing a giant bias in the United States news media and social media as a whole. And if you see them working as hard as they seemingly are, to cover for Joe Biden, that should call into question whether or not you should support him as well, but you definitely should reconsider supporting American news media. And that does piss me off, because news media should not be biased. And I'm not talking about your news commentators, your Bill O'Reillys, your Tucker Carlsons, even your Rush Limbaughs. I would throw in, I have to say, Keith Olbermann, even. They are not news broadcasters. They're news commentators. And they can get away with things that your news broadcasters cannot. Their job is not to provide the news. Their job is to provide commentary, even to the point of being a shock jock. There's, like Rush Limbaugh, his job is to put out a certain opinion in a provocative manner. Your news your news broadcasters are supposed to do one thing. They are supposed to put out the news in such a way that you do not know if they have a bias in one way or another. And you're not getting that from either side. And that's what pisses me off more than anything of the whole thing. Anyway, let me know what you think. I don't think I have any links for you, but if there are, you can feel free to check the description down below. If I have something, I'll throw it in there when I go to upload. Let me know what you think. Later.